Well, Greg, you had a front row seat to a dual threat quarterback winning MVP and taking an NFC championship victory to the Super Bowl in Cam Newton. Any similarities to him and Jalen Hurts that you've seen at all on film, chatting with them? You got something for me on that front? I'll take a stab there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I see a lot of similarities, run game wise, starting with that, like run game scheme and style. There's a lot of similarities to what we were doing with Cam, here in Carolina, especially down in the red zone. You hear coaches talk about that a lot down in the red zone, accounting for the quarterback when the field becomes, wider than it is deep, right? Like that whole idea of how the field shape changes and how the schemes change and the coverages and how you try to attack zones in the red zone. It's hard to account for the quarterback. And, Cam made a living as a red zone runner, both designed and improv. And I see a lot of that in their scheme with Jalen. And it's a huge challenge, their ability to spread you out, guard every blade of grass, and be able to still throw the ball over your head with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And I think that's what makes this style, the way they're operating as a run-first quarterback, run-heavy team, is they still have that element of the elite passing game. Between those two wide receivers, Dallas Goedert, you overcommit to trying to take that run away. You overcommit to trying to account for the extra body in the box to account for the quarterback pulling the ball with Jalen. And all of a sudden, that passing game, they're throwing it over your head. And A.J. Brown's one of the best in the league, along with Devontae Smith. So that's the cat and mouse game that I'm most looking forward to. I think that matchup between D'Amico Ryans and Shane Steichen and Sirianni, like how willing are you to let them run a little bit so as not to let them have the big explosive plays in that run game? We didn't quite have that same passing philosophy or, personnel here in Carolina, but as far as the ability to make you account for the quarterback and what that does with the offensive line and the run blocking and the numbers, there's a lot of similar scheme and philosophy that I see with what they're doing that we did for a long time here in Carolina.
To me, any key that involves the guy who I think is going to win Defensive Player of the Year, it's not a very long limit you're going out on. But to me, Nick Bosa, if I'm D'Amico Ryans, I'm testing Lane Johnson's groin from jump with him, and I'm going to see what's happening. And because that way I'm affecting the run game on the way to the pass. That's what I'm looking at when I'm starting. What about you, Greg?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, again, we haven't talked to D'Amico yet. I'd be interested to pick his brain here. We're going to talk to him tomorrow in our meeting. But, if I'm them and I'm just looking at this, back to like I was just saying about, dealing with those threats in the passing game that Philadelphia has, I think knowing I have Nick Bosa and I have Eric Armstead and I got Greenlaw and Fred Warner, four of your best players are in your front seven. Right. I think at some point, for as good as Philly's offensive line is, they're the best in the league. At some point, I think you have to say, all right, Bosa, we're not going to bring an extra safety down. We're not going to go crazy. You guys got to play. Like, you guys, he's arguably the best defensive player in the year. I agree with you. He's going to be the player of the year. Like, you guys got to go win, and you need to go chase down some of these design quarterback runs, and you guys need to win your matchups up front so I don't have to overcommit, and I can maybe keep some of those extra bodies in the back end playing our zones, getting an extra body in Jalen's face in the passing game. The second you have to overcommit to that, if they account for Bosa and they can block Greenlaw and Fred Warner, and all of a sudden now you're bringing an extra safety, that's where the problems come. So I'm with you. I think this game, Nick Bosa needs to be the star. I think Fred Warner needs to be a star. And those guys are amongst the best of anybody at their position in the entire league. D'Amico Ryans is going to need those guys in that front seven to play to their complete abilities, and that will go a long way in trying to take away the 100 things that Philly can do against you on offense.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.